Okay. Well, good morning. All right. So here's what you're going to do. You're all going to stand up. Okay? Everybody stand up. And you're going to turn around and you're going to kneel on the steps so you can see the tree. Can you see the tree up there? Guess who lives in that tree? Okay, a squirrel. That's a good guess. Who would live in the tree? A raccoon? A bird? Okay, I'm going to give you a clue. Who's going to live in this tree? That's what we found underneath the tree. Ooh, wait, it looks like a skull, doesn't it? And you see the little round thing that kind of looks like a little turd? It isn't a turd. It came from an owl pellet. And inside an owl pellet, it's where the owl will eat the little mice. They often swallow them whole, but they can't digest the fur. They can't digest the bones. So a special spot in their body is designed to be a trash compactor. It's called a gizzard. And it will crunch that together, so when he spits it back out, you end up seeing this little pellet. And so the one that lives in the tree is this guy. It's an owl. It's called a barn owl. Now, barn owls are really fascinating birds. What do you think how do they sound? What does an owl sound like? Oh, well, this owl doesn't sound that way. Mr. Reeve, can you trigger how a barn owl sounds? You can listen. This is what he says. Have you ever heard that at night? And sometimes they'll take their bills and they'll clack them. Do we have the clacking sound? Yeah, it's from the speaker up there. Yeah, isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? But it doesn't do hoo-hoo, right? This is a barn owl. They live in our area. They're found here in our valley. They can live in urban areas. They can live in ag land. And if you go by the orchards, you see those little boxes up on poles. Those are owl boxes. They're trying to attract barn owls. Yeah. You'll hear another one instead. We're going to keep moving. All right. Now, barn owls have really good vision. They got eyes in the front of their heads. But, they don't use that vision as much. Instead, they listen. They hear. They have one ear higher than the other ear, and they're some of the best ones able to hear just the slightest little sound of a mouse. That's all they need, and they'll find him. So that's one of our owls here in the valley. And we did the hoot, the hiss, right? Isn't that fun? Look at him. Those wings, so cool. Now, I got a new word for you. Quintessential. Do you like that word? When people think of an owl, this is the one they think of. It's the great horned owl. And why do you think he's called great horned? What makes him great horned? He's got these funny little ear tufts of feathers up there, doesn't he? But they're not really ears. They're feather tufts. But the ears are there too. He is the largest owl. Oh, let's not do that to the microphone because it makes extra noise. We've got the largest one. Sometimes he's called the tiger of the wood because he will go out and pick up biggest prey, even skunks. Ooh, there's not many things out there that eat a skunk, but he could do a skunk. So he picks up things. He builds a nest in sticks, and he's the one that says, hoo hoo. Do you want to hear him? Okay, let's hear the great horn. Ready? Get real quiet so you can hear. One more time. So where you're going to find those guys, and you'll hear that noise, come evening time if you're walking near streams or rivers, riparian areas. San Joaquin Wildlife Refuge is a place you can hear them, and sometimes you'll hear two of them calling. See if you can hear two. Can you hear the duet going on? Now, the deep one, the hoo, 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 is the male. And the higher pitched one is a female, and they will often talk to each other. Isn't that cool? So that's the one that goes hoo, hoo. But we've got my favorite. This one's called a burrowing owl. And you're going to find him in open grasslands near agriculture. And he's a small owl, but he's got these long legs. Looks like he kind of struts, doesn't it? Got these interesting legs and these big eyes. And rather than fly away, sometimes they kind of flatten themselves to the ground. Or the reason they're called a burrowing owl is they live in a burrow. And they actually take over ground squirrels' homes that don't have they'll go in there, they'll put feathers in there, they'll pull grass in there, and they'll live inside. Now, do you think he says hoo-hoo? No, let's play him. He's got a different call. It sounds more... Isn't that a weird call? It sounds more like a quail to me. Now, one of the interesting things they do... Okay, hop off each other for a minute. You're squishing him. All right, there you go. One of the interesting things they do is if they're trying to escape predators, they make a sound like a rattlesnake. They'll hide in their burrows, and then they'll do this sound. Can you hear the rattlesnake tail going shh? Do you think you want to reach your hand down that burrow if you hear that sound? No. See, God designed all of these different owls. They're totally different. They're totally unique. They're special. You guys are all special too, because you're going to have your own talents. You're going to be living in your own type of place. But the thing they have in common is that they are God's creatures. And you are God's children. And you know, one of the things when people think of owls, they think that owls are the wise ones, right? So how much better to get wisdom than it is to than gold, right? So you need to be wise like an owl, because owl sits there. They are probably very patient. They're very watchful. They're very alert. So if any of you lack wisdom, who should we ask? Ask God, who generously gives to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. So I hope you can find some of these owls sometime in your life, because they are really fun to see. And I hope sometime you get to take an owl pellet apart to see what an owl actually eats. So my children of God, I'm going to send you back to your seats now.